Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. As always, my name is Nuxweiler Burf, and I am your game master and guide through a dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Tuesday evening, we're playing Outbreak Undead. This game is not for the faint of heart, and I, as your game master, have confirmed consent with each and every one of my players. Our lines and veils have been very carefully drawn, and we have safety protocols in place to assist and protect everyone at the table. We ask you for your consent as well. We encourage you to read the content warnings very closely. This game offers us all opportunities to explore dark themes and to shine a light on the human condition in the safe confines of our imaginations, but that takes bravery. And it takes the support of everyone, you included. Not every character here tonight is being played with the same objectives and motivations. Some are working directly against the other players and are in communication with dangerous outside forces. This isn't the typical tabletop role-playing experience that you may be used to watching here on Twitch. You see, there are no magical swords to be discovered in this world. There are no valiant knights or castle walls to hide behind. The dangers here are far worse than those that could be imagined in a fantasy setting. They wear the face of a world that is familiar to all of us. The dying gasp of a civilization that we all very closely can recognize. Still, in the greatest darkness, hope burns the brightest. I would like to thank both JB Jora and Alex Hillman and the entire Hunters team for helping to make this campaign happen. Additionally, I would like to thank all of you for your endless support. This chapter, this campaign, is coming to an end. That doesn't mean, however, that the dead will rest easily. You have not seen the last of this story. But this chapter is coming to a close, and as such, we hope that you've enjoyed the ride that we've taken you on thus far. Many of you have been very active tonight, and you have given the survivors many gifts. I promise you, they will not be wasted, and they will be needed. If you haven't already, please sign up for the Scry program in our panels below. It is provided to you from the Foreteller group, and we have worked very closely with them to create an application that will allow you to engage with the communities of our apocalypse directly. You can take on the role of a survivor yourself and help to divert resources and goods to where you think they are most needed. Make no mistake, your choices will mean the difference between life and death as they are linked to the various settlements within the Rag and Bone universe. Our tireless Undead moderators are in the chat right now, and they're prepared to help you by answering any questions that you might have. They're here to support your efforts, and we ask that you give them the appreciation that they deserve. If you enjoy this content, as always, we ask that you continue to make noise for us on social media. Let everyone know what you've witnessed here tonight. Let them know that you want to see more of it. Be sure to add Hunter's Entertainment and the hashtag Rag and Bone. Help us to grow. Help us to bring more survivors into the fold, and even though we only have one session remaining after this, know that this dark ride is far from over. Enough of all of that, however. I'd like to introduce you to each and every one of the players in tonight's little nightmare. Michelle, welcome back. Would you like to talk a little bit about everything that you do on the internet and about the character that you'll be playing tonight?
Sure. Hey everyone, it's me, Michelle Bradley. You can find me on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny on Twitter and Instagram, and all of my work you can find at michellewinbradley.com. I'll be posting news there and on Twitter about where I'll be showing up next. Things are changing real fast for me, so I don't know. Next month I'll be somewhere different than I am now. Find out later. Anyway, today I'll be playing Faith. Faith has seen some shit, to put it lightly, and has sort of come to terms with everything that's happened, and is really focused on just getting out, surviving, and living. that is what her end goal is, and no matter what happens, she's just gonna try to survive and get who she can out with her. Yeah, it's been really fun playing this game. I'm starting to get emotional thinking about how it's like sort of ending, but I also played another character named Juniper Song at the beginning of the session who did not make it. We saw a little cool cameo of her 2 weeks ago when she was Romero popping out of the suitcase. That was great. Juniper was really fun to play, and Faith has been great also. All right, that's all.
Michelle, you've been an absolute gift to this group, and we're so thankful to have had you with us. I know that this isn't the end, however, so I will not say goodbye. Luis, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone, talk a little bit about the character that you'll play and everything that you do on the internet?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Luis Carrazzo. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, social media with just my name, Luis, Luis Carrazzo. Put that together, you'll find me. I'm an actor, do some TV, do some film, and commercials, and got some TV shows that you guys can catch that aired last season, SWAT, NCIS, and films that are doing festival circuits, other films that are coming out soon. Wow, I'm getting like a little choked up just thinking about, I gotta that. No, I'm playing Lampwick. I'm gonna move on. I'm playing Lampwick. And it's been such a really crazy ride. Last week, so Lampwick is one of the characters that's been in this since the beginning. Has managed to talk his way and dodge death left and right, but or at least delay it, because it seems to be coming for him from within. Last week was a huge reveal. Feels like forever ago, Lampwick was caught in a sticky situation with the Shepherds and was there with Arya, another character played by Cynthia Marie, and had to make a decision between surviving and earning the favor of the Shepherds, or her, and he chose to survive and had to take her out in order to prove his, I guess, loyalty to the Shepherds. Flash forward to a series of rituals, and he's sort of half alive, half dead, Cthulhu-ish. And last week was the big reveal where he finally confessed to Achira, thanks to Polly. But it all came up to a head, and Lampwick right now is, I actually have no idea. Today, we will all discover together what is around the corner for him, because I don't know what drives him anymore now that what happened last week happened. So we will all find out.
He's a broken character, beautifully broken, and that is wholly because of your skill as a role player and what you've brought to this part, and you have dove into it wholeheartedly, and we are very grateful for that. We will find out more about Lampwick's fate, and I'm very excited to see where that road terminates. Markia, welcome back. I wonder, would you be willing to talk a little bit about yourself, everything that's going on in your life and on the internet, and the character that you'll be playing tonight?
Hello, everyone. Trying not to get super emotional within the first 10 minutes. I'm a host, interviewer, and voiceover actor. You can find me Twitter and Instagram at Markia McCarty, TikTok and Twitch. It's at Darth Markia, and if you're a Facebook person, it's Markia TV. So for things that I've been doing for October, I've been a little bit of everywhere because my show and podcast, Something Scary. You can find us on youtube.com/snarled. We take fan adapted horror stories from around the world and we animate them. It's a weekly show. And we also have a podcast that has 3 to 4 additional stories that I narrate on there. We've had guest narrators, from the horror field that have been guest speakers on our podcast for this month, like Tanana Reeve Dew and Selena Spooky Boo that you can find on Sleepwalk TikTok, for instance, and including a number of others. So check that out. And if you want to see me doing RPG stuff, I've I just did two and you Kids on Bikes spooky campaign that I GM'd 2+U on Hyper last week. So that is a wacky spooky adventure. Might want to check that out. And this upcoming Saturday, I'll be for D&D Beyond, their October spooky episode for Jasper's Day. All proceeds go to Jasper's Day, which is Jasper's Game Day, which is a charity near and dear to my heart. So yeah, check that out. But just follow me on social media, and you'll see all the stuff that I've been doing. And so for this character, Achira, this has been such an incredible journey for her. And then like with the other characters that are here, Achira needs people but doesn't trust them like at all. But that doesn't stop her from needing them and wanting to see the good side, even if there isn't a good side there. She became incredibly involved with Juniper, Michelle's earlier character, when Juniper was alive, who was a wild child. And also her best friend is Luis's character, Lampwick, who's also, as he described, the same person that took away her love, the love of her life. And in the last episode, with him confessing that to her, she then took away the thing that it seemed that he valued the most, because she couldn't find it in her heart to kill him. She killed a child that was calling him father. It wasn't a normal child, it was a type of hybrid child that the shepherds held into very high esteem within their ranks. So a lot of shit has hit the fan with her headshotting this child, and she's riding a rage train right now, and I have no idea what's going to be on the other side of that when the adrenaline stops pumping and she actually realizes the things that Lampwick handed to her and what he sacrificed to get her like necessary information that she has. But she has a stadium full of Romeros to try to escape before any of that becomes relevant.
It's very true. This campaign began as an exploration of survivors that had existed in a world without law and order for so long that the areas of morality that within our modern society we may hold true were certainly shifting grounds. And a lot of what we had discussed initially when we were creating our characters together was the idea that there are no real heroes at this point, that everyone has done something horrible to survive and made choices that they wish that they could have taken back, or at least been put into better circumstances so that they wouldn't have had to make the hard choices that they made. And I think that out of all of the characters, Achira has really embodied that journey and the struggle between what is right and what is necessary. And I thank you, Markia, for bringing such reality and truth to this character, because in many ways she's become the backbone of the group and has become certainly a leader, but also the struggle that she's faced, not knowing whether or not she can trust people, I think mirrors what many of us feel in modern society, having come out of this pandemic and having had so much distance between ourselves and others. And so we've been playing this game now for about a year, well, over a year, and I feel that what we've created here is very special, and I appreciate all of you and what you've brought to the table. I'm excited for what comes next. Last but certainly not least, Sarah, you are a new face here. You have first joined us at Gen Con Live. At our first live game of Rag and Bone, you were present, and you created a character, and you joined us, and you've brought a very fresh perspective. But last session, we revealed the importance of this character and exactly the key that this character held that no one was aware of. And you're back with us. I know that Polly Pocket is hanging on by a dear thread, but as this game has proven time and time again, no one is dead until they're dead. So would you like to talk about yourself, everything that you're doing across the internet, and a little bit about your character?
Absolutely. Hi, I am Sarah, or Sarah's Coffee, basically anywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can find me most easily on Twitch over on the Welcome In on Fridays, where I play Ristrata every Friday at 7 p.m. Or you can now find me over on Total Party Kiss every Saturday at 12 p.m. EST or EDT. I think the time has changed now. And that's a real fun one. It's another horror game called Strange Hungers, and we're just getting into it. We had our first episode last week. We're having our second episode this week. So it's a great time to jump in and get early in on the spooks right as it begins. And today I will be playing Polly Pocket, who is a wild child. And yeah, last week there was a reveal that she was actually present when Lampwick killed Arya and witnessed the entire thing, and was also responsible with her friends for digging the pits which Lampwick and Arya got trapped in. She's a very fresh, bright, almost positive face up until very recently, where she recognized Lampwick, and switch definitely flipped there, and ended up having a pretty heated confrontation that led into Lampwick confessing to Achira, and ended up, as Achira shot the child, shooting the other, whose name I can never remember, the sister. And that is where we are right now. She is currently over someone's shoulder, nearly dead, but not there yet. And we'll see what happens.
We will indeed. Thank you again for being with us. If you are still interested in learning more about this world, you are able to do so. We have, together here at Hunters, created special Outbreak Undead Rag and Bone content that is available to you absolutely free through Free Content Friday. You can go there as early as you like today and download from DriveThruRPG free manuscript and other game materials that directly relate to this game and this campaign world. You can learn all about what we've done here, and I promise you those are not completed yet. There will be 2 more installations, and I think you're going to be very happy with where that leads. If you haven't already, know that every subscription and follow that is given to us here at Hunters helps keep this channel alive, and we are so grateful to you for it. Also, you are able to support these survivors in their journey. It's no small thing, and we appreciate all of you. Well, I think we've all said enough. There's very little more that we could add. The road is long, and it's getting dark. We should get moving.
Okay, listen, I don't have a lot of time, and I don't know who will find this, but I pray that you do not lose hope. My name is Outbreak, and I have a cure. I'm not safely able to record everything here, but I have a message the world needs to know. The virus, which has plagued us and devastated everything that we know and love, is not without weakness. I and a small group that rose out of the post CDC, the Center for Disease Control, have tested a radical antiviral which has produced a full and complete reversal of the devastating H195 virus. This message cannot end with you. Pass it on, make copies, and spread the truth. I leave it to the Good Samaritans and the Silent Sentinels, those who never waver and always, whatever you do, trust them. Fear the...
The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell, and the dead would not die. Civilization quickly collapsed, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the flu. It became something far worse. H195, commonly called the Legacy or the Reaper's Kiss, as the dead seemed to become even more infectious after they passed away. At first, it seemed as though no one was immune to the airborne strain, but eventually it appeared that 0.01% of the population had a natural immunity. Even those lucky souls, however, couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of the virus through a bite or a deep scratch or blood-on-blood contact. The end of days were like wildfire, and throughout the world people sought security and sanctuary where none was to be had. Entire cities burnt to the ground. It was chaos. Friend and family turned upon one another. The dead roamed the streets. Civilization was torn apart from the inside out. Some, however, survived, and for the next 25 years, life has struggled forward. The world now is a fractured place, but some seek to make civilization anew. Rag and bone merchants crisscross the land, working through the scattered outposts and settlements of what was once known as the Midwestern United States. One such group, known as the Ender's Line, uses old railway tracks to connect those places together, bringing the necessary food, water, and medical supplies to those who need it most. They are a lifeline in a world that now belongs entirely to the dead. There is a fire. It crackles and burns in the night. The darkness is broken by the light that it creates. It is cold. The wind has picked up. The trees have changed colors, oranges and yellows, browns and reds, bright, brilliant color, and the leaves that are on the ground rustle as that wind picks up and the chill is carried through the air. Next to the fire is a figure, sitting on a log, holding on to a stick. A large pack is next to him. Behind him, a small tent has been pitched. The moon above is full and pale, and the sky is dappled with dark clouds. There are very few stars tonight. Lampwick, would you please describe yourself?
Oh, yes. So sitting down, Lampwick, You see a weathered, good-looking man. You can tell that he was in his younger days very fit, athletic, and he carries himself with the confidence and maybe almost cockiness of someone that knew that he could probably work the room back in the days when there were rooms to work. He's got a beard. It's about a medium brown caramel skin color. There's a good, healthy color to his skin. Very different from the Lampwick of the present day. And he's just sitting there contemplating something quietly to himself.
A thin, middle-aged man walks towards you. He's got a patchy beard, dark hair with a little bit of gray, salt and pepper worked through it, wrinkles heavy around the eyes, a little weary looking with a hooked nose. This is Joe Skeeter Jenkins, a longtime companion of yours. Within the Ender's Line, you and he and Lawrence Papa Bear Freeman have worked this route over and over again. You've spent a lot of time together on the road. You know each other well. Skeeter and Papa Bear love each other. They argue incessantly, and from time to time you are forced to find your way as far away from them as possible because the two tend to bicker. But they do so in a loving, playful way that old couples often do. They're happy together, and they've worked this line endlessly. Behind the tent that you've pitched are a number of bags that have been hoisted into the tree. These are the packs that you're delivering. You know that if you're going to make your way through the homestead to the Apple Grove settlement, you're going to have to be careful. This area is lousy with Romeros. The dead have clotted this pathway for more than a year now. And according to the leader of the Ender's Line 10-4 and Ruby Red, his wife, you have very little chance of making it to your destination without encountering roamers. The best thing that you can do is be vigilant and prepared. When Skeeter arrives to the fire and plops himself down, he throws down a machete that's coated in thick blood, takes a boot off and starts shaking dirt and rocks out of it as he glances over at you. You're being real quiet tonight.
I just don't have a lot to say. At least not right now. What's this blood?
Another pair of Romeros over there across the way. They just keep trickling in though, so it doesn't feel like it's a swarm or nothing. I think we're gonna be all right for the night. Papa Bear's doing the rounds right now. Where the fuck is Juniper? Hey, Juniper.
Who knows? She's probably wandering the forest, doing all the crazy wild child stuff that she does.
I swear, she's like a polecat. I cannot keep track of her. I'm afraid that we're gonna lose her for good if she doesn't pay attention to where the hell she is. Juniper!
Yeah. See Juniper roll out from like under a bush, as if she was hiding. I was just making camp. You said to make camp. I was just making a, bed, hole thing situation.
Juniper, describe yourself.
Juniper. Juniper is small, has brightly colored, sort of fire-colored hair, incredibly dirty, seems to have a bit of a twitch to her. Her neck and her head sort of move around at points where it's not appropriate to. And she has a small voice and can be very furious when she wants to be in a fight, and is very young. She was, well, for this world, she was born during the fall, so she has no knowledge of the previous world, and is a quote-unquote wild child, and was brought into the Ender's Line semi-recently, and doesn't really plan to stay for long.
You roll out from this bush where you've made camp, and the others look to you. However, there's a cracking of twigs off in the forest, just a small distance away from you. All of you hear it. Another crack. Quietly, Skeeter grabs the machete and holds it next to him, drawing an old pistol, looking to both of you without saying a word. What do you do?
I'm going to take out my spear that I have with me. Kind of a makeshift spear. There's a stick that has a knife just like taped to it on the end.
All right.
And I just sort of hunker down more. I have a knife in my boot.
Okay. Do you draw that knife?
I do.
You draw a knife, you hold onto your spear, and all three of you by the fire wait as figures begin to emerge from the tree line. And then you see them. 3 figures walking towards you. It's then that the two of you recognize 2 of those figures. One of them is Abigail Rose, the de facto leader of your group. She has been with the Ender's line longer than any of you. She has wild, red hair that is streaked with gray, but she has it tied back in a neat bun. She's all business. She has a tough demeanor, and she carries a rifle on her shoulder as she walks. Next to her is Malibu Stacy. She's young, as far as anyone can guess, 16 or 17 years old, even more feral than Juniper. Malibu Stacy is a wild child as well. There are colors that have been artificially dyed in her hair, and she wears scraps of fabric that have been picked up along the way. She skips next to Abigail, and you can see her jaw working from here as she chews on makeshift bubble tar. It blackens her teeth, but she is always attempting to blow bubbles and create some sort of chomp as she works this bubble tar. The 2 of them are joined by someone that you do not recognize. Achira, would you please describe yourself?
Achira is one of those people that you can't really tell the age of. You have, but from the way that she holds herself, you feel like there is a lot of maturity and experience there. This can't possibly be a wild child, even though she might have in the past have tried to pass herself off as one, if the situation called for it. She has dark brown skin, and her hair is in shoulder length in passion twists, which are kind of like dreads, but not. They're easier to take out in a bit fluffier, a bit better for hot weather. She's very muscular. This is someone that obviously spends a lot of time outdoors, not really someone that seems to stay in one place too long. She has very heavy eye contact, and she seems to, as soon as you see her, she seems to be reading everybody's body language, like kind of gauging the who could I take out if I needed to, kind of a look to her. Along with that, she seems to look at people overly long, like she misses people, but yet from her body language, you feel like she does not want to be here for long.
Unsurprising to you, Achira, everyone seems to be on the defensive. Weapons are drawn, people are a little standoffish as you and the rest of the group approach. Abigail, who you have only just met, has retrieved you from a location that was left by the leader of the Ender's Line 10-4. You've been assigned to this cell. This is the group that you're going to be traveling with. You'll be transporting and protecting goods as they are brought throughout all of the settlements here within the Iron Pin. It's good work. You know that you'll be given the food and supplies that you need to survive in a very comfortable manner. You'll be able to negotiate for yourself some of those trades. It could make you quite wealthy. Maybe give you more than what you've had in the past. It's been a very hard road, and there are echoes of the past that seem to follow you everywhere. You've evaded a number of Citadel patrols. They're not too far away, but you realize that here, within the Ender's Line, you're going to have a place of security and safety, for a while at least. Abigail holds her hand up and looks to the rest of you. I like that defensive nature you all pulled out there. You're protective. That's good. But she's with us. This is 10-4's new pup. Gonna be joining us for a while. Achira, you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, I'm Achira. I tend to not talk with people a lot. I'm usually more of a scout, bodyguard kind of a person, but I'm good with my rifle, and I'm especially good with this. And in a very deft movement, she pulls out her hand scythe, which is looks wickedly sharp and has been lovingly handled, like you can see with leather bindings and everything. And the way that she holds it, it's like it's an extension of her own arm.
It's clear that Malibu Stacy is fawning over this figure and is standing close to her and watching her every move very closely, smiling broadly. Yeah, for sure. I've seen her work with it. It's bitchin'.
Lampwick is going to step forward at that and approach Achira, and he extends his hand. Well, you seem capable enough. It's always good to have an extra set of eyes. Name's Lampwick, and he reaches out to shake your hand.
Achira withdraws the hand scythe, switches it over to the other hand, reaches out, shakes his hand. I appreciate the warm welcome, Lampwick. 10-4 said that this was a good sell to be a part of, that we would work well together.
Well, if 10-4 said it, then it must be true. Speaking of warmth, why don't you make yourself at home? Have a seat next to the fire. You can tell us where you come from.
Well, do you remember Atlanta?
Vaguely, yes.
A small town outside of it, basically. Blue Brunswick, which I don't think it was ever really on any map. Definitely not now.
I remember Atlanta just fine. Wonderful place, wonderful people. Skeeter puts a pot in front of you with a spoon. There are ears of corn inside of it that have been shucked, and there is a stew that's sort of boiling around it. It's nothing special, but it does smell warm.
I appreciate that. I'm Achira.
Skeeter. My man Papa Bear's out there somewhere. You'll meet him soon enough. That over there, hiding behind that bush, that's Juniper.
Don't mind
Eat
her.
less. You're new.
Did you just tell me to eat less?
Last.
Down, Juniper. She's one of us. You'll get used to her. Well, she'll get used to you eventually.
She's totally a trip, but you'll get used to her for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just you just remind me. I don't know if you've seen any of the VHSs, but you just remind me of the talking cat on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Just warm, but also they're a cat. It just, sorry, I don't know why you made me think of that. It's a compliment.
Your words don't make any sense. Echoes are weird.
Yeah. Yep. That's June. She might bite you.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly hope that she doesn't bite you, but Abigail steps forward. Now, we're going to have to talk about where we're going. It's not going to be great, but we do have a long road ahead of us. Chira, why don't you talk a little bit about what it is that you're good at so that I understand? I mean, 10-4 gave me a little rundown, said you're pretty quiet, but other than that, I don't know much.
I'm usually the person that they send in when there's no other options. It's one of the reasons why 10-4 gave me my call sign, Last Resort. I'm not good at talking, obviously. I am really stealthy though. I can read a room really well. I just can't really talk to the people in it very well. And I'm really good at retrieving things, getting things out. And I'm really good at finding a bargain. If you're looking for a cache of something, I can find it for you. And I can get you to the person that's going to give you the best price for it.
Did 10-4 give you any indication as to why he put you with our cell?
He said something like, it's not good for anybody to be out there by themselves too long, which that doesn't make sense. And it seems like this cell is going to start having to go out and retrieve some important things. So he thought that it would be a good idea for me not to be last resort anymore, to be more of a front line this time.
All right. Well, I haven't made it my business to question 10-4. Anyway, our current mission is to get to the Apple Grove settlement. They're inside of the homestead. It's not too far away from here. We're going to be discussing with them a little bit about what they have to trade for the medical supplies and food that we're carrying. It's not much. They have an apple harvest that we're going to be able to carry out there to some other settlements, but there's a couple of way stations. I think we've got 113 kicking around here somewhere close. We're going to need to find a radio and check in with the bosses. Anybody have any questions before we get a little shut-eye?
How do you divvy up your fines?
Fairly. We'll discuss that later. Everybody, Chira, you're new. You're going to be on last watch. Everybody else stays to the normal schedule. I'm going to leave the rest of you by the fire. I'm going to go check in with Papa Bear before I lay down. Abigail walks away. You're left by the fire.
Yeah, Achira starts eating, but eats slow and also kind of looks at Juniper and just chuckles a little bit.
Lampwick sits back down where he was, and with this new person, he's gonna observe, but without making it obvious. Just kind of get a read. So, Achiro, you'll get used to this group. It's a bunch of good people. I'd notice you're alone.
It's easier that way, mainly. You know, with groups of people comes politics, and with their politics, people die.
Yeah, well, speaking of politics, I guess I'm the representative when it comes to that here. I'm the talker of the group. Not always, and not...
He sure as fuck is.
Well, you know. So, you know, if you get a read on someone, feel free to let me know when we get to these settlements. Things are unpredictable still. They know who we are. They're usually on our side, but oftentimes there's a little bit of de-escalating that has to happen and a little bit of smooth talking. So You said you weren't really into doing that, but I got that covered. So
Yeah,
there's that.
I'd be better watching your backs than I would be talking. I mean, I've got a pretty decent read on you, for instance.
I'm all ears.
When I walked up, I knew you were the talker before you told me that. You were less quick to pick up your weapon than anybody else. Almost like there has to be a different way of going about this kind of feel with it. That plus, this is a pretty hard life, but you've got way too many smile lines in your face. So that's either genuine and you find something that's happy in this world, or it's because you remember what it's like to be congenial. You know what people like us, echoes, respond to. I don't think you were a celebrity, though, in your before life, before all this. There's a certain sparkle that comes with that. And then also, I'm pretty sure that I watched everything before the world died.
Well, I was definitely not a celebrity. Although I guess I had a couple of fans here and there, I suppose.
Yeah.
A pretty good read. I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm working on that. You know, try the aggressive stuff first. Sometimes you got to rely on that more than words.
Well, as someone who chooses aggression first over words, potato, potato.
Maybe we can teach each other a little something since we're stuck together anyway.
You're going to teach me to be more congenial with people? I think that'd be a hero's trial. Right?
I'm gonna teach you how to make it impossible for somebody else to know whether your smile is real or not.
That would be a pretty good skill to have.
You seem like the type of person that's looking to get some good skills going for you.
Yeah, well, it's all about survival. I would appreciate that. And I guess for you, I could teach you to be a bit more cutthroat. Maybe don't have you can smile but still have a knife in your other hand, kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm. What did you do before all this?
Stupid stuff. I was basically a kid in grown-up pants running around. I think right before the world died, I was looking for work. I always did minimum wage when it was back there, but I did just basically everything. I mean, I was just like a stupid kid.
No parents?
Foster parents.
So no parents. At least nothing worth mentioning.
I mean, they weren't anything really big to me. They always, there are some people that like the idea of children and really want to help children. And then when the child is there, well, that's a whole other energy in their sphere. But don't feel sad for me though. I mean, I was still well loved in my own way by people that mattered, just not them.
Good for you. That's really good.
How about you? Do you have family?
Not anymore.
What were they like? Is this something I shouldn't ask?
No, I'm an open book. I didn't know my parents. I was on my own. I don't know. I mean, before all this happened, my life wasn't really that different. I was just surviving and kind of on the streets some of the time. Met some terrible people that taught me some really interesting things. And found my way around it. Did a couple things I wasn't proud of. Did a couple things that I'm actually quite proud of. Because the people that I did them to deserved it.
How about the ones that didn't deserve it?
I don't touch those.
You had a choice in that?
There's always a choice.
No, there isn't. Sometimes you get sent to do things and you have to do them.
You're right. I never found myself in that particular situation. Was lucky, I guess. I always had a way out somehow.
I've rarely found myself outside of that situation.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Don't be sorry for me.
I'm not sorry for you. You ended up here. And you ended up exactly who you are. And you made the best of it, I can already tell.
My God, you are such a talker.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I don't have to
really
talk. We
good
can
at
just stare at the fire for a couple minutes. I can show you that I can be quiet too.
No, I don't mean as in that you're talking too much. I mean as in, what do I mean? I mean as in you're charismatic. That's what I mean.
Wow, well, thank you.
You don't
Thank
really
you.
run into charismatic people. You probably lie a lot, don't you?
Only to the right people.
I
Not to
suck
everyone.
at lying.
Like I said, I could teach you how to smile. A fake smile that no one can tell is fake.
The fire continues to burn. These two strangers continue to talk. Their silhouettes lit by the fire. Their friendship just begun. The wild child, Juniper Song, hunched, listening, rapt to every word. As the rest of the cell of Ender's line continues to patrol, keeping a vigil as the night grows longer and older. And somewhere out in the distance, the dead shuffle and walk as the dead world waits to greet them. Inside of the Three Rivers Stadium, bedlam, mayhem, and chaos has broken out. Survival is no longer a simple thing. Every option has been exhausted, every pathway followed. The bleeding body of Polly Pocket jostles as she's carried forward by Faith. Faith, in your arms, the wild child is badly wounded. You had to perform surgery to prevent her collapsed lung from drowning her alive. And due to your quick thinking and the skills that you've learned from the Citadel, from your military training, you've helped someone who's of a similar age to you, but from very different lives. Behind you, other figures run. Rowan's assault rifle crackles as it sprays into the dead. You are surrounded on 3 sides. The stadium's seats, like a waterfall, plunge downward into the brightly lit field. It is shattered, broken concrete, old, grown vines. Dead life that has tried to reclaim this place, and now the shepherds. This bizarre cult of outsiders who have secretly worked amongst all of the communities of the Iron Pin now have made their play. This seems to be their temple, and they have outfitted it in a way that would test and kill any that are brought here to suffer. Down below at the field, lights flood the area. They are powered by gas generators that are noisy. You can hear them all around. But as you, Faith, Polly Pocket, and Achira push forward, you hear the sound of hope in the air above you. While you are currently unable to see it, you hear a helicopter in the distance. And Faith, you and Rowan both know that that can only mean that the Citadel has sent an extraction team. The helicopter is old, but well maintained. It is a last resort, and it has been sent to retrieve any survivors from this hellhole. But just as Lampwick has been left behind, twisted and perverted by the choices that he has made, Achira, you hang on to sanity by a bare thread. Your heart and mind are at their limit. You have been through so much. And now you have many of the answers that you've sought. But you may not have the time to discover what it all means. There is a satchel that contains the papers and tapes that Lampwick has given to you. But as all of you push forward, Romeros have surrounded you. The unquiet dead. Swarms of them. Entire walls of rotting corpses. Most of them nude now, having lost all of their vestiges of humanity. Their skin has peeled away to the point where what is left is thin and translucent. Their faces have become skeletal. Their ribs show. The flesh and the muscles have joined together in unnatural ways, but the rotting eventually always stops with the Romeros and carries them forward as long as they feed, killing all life before them. These Romeros, though, are acting unlike any that you've seen before. Their bodies are pouring black ichor from their eyes and ears, noses and mouths. As their bodies jolt and jerk forward, they begin running towards you. I am immediately spending 100 risk. And I would like to know what each of your intentions are.
Mean our intentions within this location hazard?
I'm very happy to tell you, Achira. This is the mother of all location hazards.
Finally. Well, I'm going to, once I see the chopper and I have made a decision to to we are going to live. And it doesn't matter how that's done right now, but there's zero chance of us surviving with these Romeros at our heels. And there's a little bit of a chance of surviving if we go to the Citadel, figure out what's going on over there, and just need to get out. With Sarah on my shoulder, I'm just going to use my other free hand to just try to shoot a path forward so we can run forward to go to where we think the chopper landing might be.
There are a set of concrete stairs not too far ahead of you, but the horde has obscured most of those steps. Is that your target, or would you like to go back to where you left Lampwick, or down into the middle of the field? This is a very important choice. There are Romeros everywhere.
Right.
So you're going towards the stairs.
Yeah, and I think before I do, I just kind of give a little shout. I think the helicopter is our only chance. We have to go. Go to the stairs.
Now, I would like for you to make your pistol roll. However, this is going to be a very complex action. You're going to roll 3 blue die. The reason that you're doing that is because you are carrying Polly Pocket, and you are slowed down by that fact. However, Polly is unable to walk on their own. So you're going to fire using 2 black dice of difficulty. And I'm going to also say that if you succeed in the pistol action, I will also forego any rolls to see if you're able to move towards the stairs. This one roll will determine everything.
These are both D6s or D5s?
So these are actually going to be D5s.
All right.
Because they can, in fact, explode.
Playing this in hard mode this whole time. Here we go.
Rowan is still a part of our party, right?
That is correct. You are in a formation. So when I ask you inevitably for certain morale checks, that is going to factor into that.
Okay. But I'm also Rowan could carry someone, right?
Rowan is currently covering everyone, and Camilla is supporting Zippy. So you have 2 wounded individuals. If you recall, Zippy's mind was attacked by the abomination child that was traveling with Lampwick, and they are still not quite okay. Does that make sense to you, Achira?
That does. Thank you.
All right. So, Faith, with that, I'm sorry to say you do have 2 degrees of failure and a speed of 16. Nice. We'll come back to you. Achira, what is your intention in this moment?
Faith yelled, go for the stairs. Achira still has her long gun, her rifle, from when she took out the child. So she's going to also cover by shooting Romero's with this long gun so that we can get to the stairs.
All right. So you are not burdened by carrying someone. However, currently, I believe your morale is a 2. Is that correct?
She has been chanting her mantra to herself this entire time.
Can you do that now, please?
Marcus, Amanda, Nora, Omar, Baby Faith, Lampwick. Marcus.
As you chant, you hold it together. Along with the formation, I'm going to forego a composure roll. However, I'm going to warn you, Achira. You are not wounded. You are not carrying viral. The danger for you is wholly in your psyche and your morale, which has been assaulted endlessly. This is where you could falter. You continue to chant as you draw your long gun. I'm adding 1 black die of difficulty, only 1, but I do want you to use 2 blue speed die and also roll your single depletion die. While you're choices are limited. That's very good, Achira. You have 1 degree of success. We'll discuss that in just a minute. And your speed is 8, which is very good given the circumstances that you're working under. Your depletion die is also good. You have not run out of ammunition quite yet. However, Polly Pocket, while you're limited in your actions, what is your intention in this moment?
I do still have Achira's pistol. However, I do think I would be holding on to that as much as I can just to try to help cover with Faith, but I am on Faith's shoulder. I'm being jostled around. I don't imagine I'm going to be especially successful at that, especially being jostled is going to cause a lot more pain.
To be honest.
Yeah, go for it.
You are in pain. It will be difficult for you to perhaps succeed in any sort of truly targeted shot. Mm-hmm. The amount of dead that are coming towards you right now, it would be hard for you to miss. So if you choose to provide some cover in the direction that people are running, I will be kind when adding degrees of difficulty to your roll.
Great. Fantastic. I don't know if it's possible to do something simultaneously, but I think this is a very difficult situation. I think one of Polly's main objectives in this moment is keeping an eye out for if the group begins to get overwhelmed. She kind of wants to spot that before anybody else.
Amazing. And it is quite possible. It just adds to your speed. So what I would like to do is have you roll 3 blue speed die. You can make a spot listen check and then a pistol check.
Great.
The pistol check, however, is going to have 2 black dice added to it for difficulty. Also add a white die for your depletion, if you could, please.
Great.
And I'll let you make that roll. And while you're making that roll, I'm going to go back up to Faith. Awesome. Faith, you will not be acting first as you have a 16. The first one to act will be Achira. Achira, since you are the fastest here in this moment, you are unhampered by carrying anyone. You draw the long gun and you fire. You do have 1 degree of success. Is there anything that you would like to do to improve that?
Sure. I'm trying to think of the type of gun that I have, and I believe that this was from the military cache.
Yes.
So it's like multiple, like
yeah. You have an AK-47.
Okay. Yes, that's the terminology, the name of the gun. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 more degrees of success with that. Mm-hmm. So if that will give me as much multiple damage as possible, because really what I'm trying to do is, let's say, kneecap the front line of Romeros that are close to the stairs so that they become like impediments to the ones that are coming behind it. So
if you roll a second, or I can roll it for you if you like, a second depletion die, you can enter into suppression fire, which is going to allow you to control the horde to a certain extent as you spray bullets towards them. And while it may not stop them or kill them, it may hold them back just long enough for others to pass through whatever side you're raking this fire along. You do so, you are not out of ammunition either, Achira. So if you have chosen to do this and spend those extra competency, you are actually going to hold back the tide and help to make a window towards the stairs where others can enter into it.
Okay.
So then going over to Faith, you see Achira do this. The gun rattles in her hands, and she is distant, and you hear her muttering, and you're worried about her. But the AK-47 rattles loudly and echoes through this concrete chamber, this passageway, and you see the brightly colored the paint that has faded over the years and all the vines and the growth here. And in the midst of it, the dead start charging towards you. And while Achira takes a few of them down with some lucky headshots, the majority of that tide continues to come. But because of the gunfire, it is held back just enough to allow you to continue your action. Do you wish to continue with your pistol fire? You have 2 degrees of failure right now.
Yeah, I'm going to Yes, I'm going to continue with it. I'm going to spend 3 competency to make it 1 success.
Very
so
well.
That, I just make the path clear, and also with the hopes that as the others come through, there's just less to deal with as they come forward as well.
All right. So with 1 degree of success, you target 1 or 2 of the dead. They drop, but it does nothing to really slow down the swarm. It does help you clear a path enough so that you and Polly Pocket can make your way closer to the stairs.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Yep.
Polly, you have rolled your spot listen and you've rolled your pistol, both of which are only 1 degree of failure, which is significantly better than might have been possible given your state.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to ride those failures out, or do you wish to add competency to them?
I am going to ride the spot listen out. I'd like to use 2 competency points to bring that pistol roll to a success.
Very well. And so your pistol roll is a success now. You do target a few of the dead. They do drop. And I'm going to say that because of that, half of your group will have no further issue making it to the stairwell. So, Polly Pocket, Faith, and Achira, since you were at the forefront of this formation while Rowan was at the back, you make your way to the stairs. Rowan is doing much as Achira is and raking across the crowd of the dead with another AK-47. The gunfire ricochets across the stone as she continues to try to clear out the pathway as the rest of you move. She looks to you, Faith. All right, you're just gonna have to get him upstairs. Just go. Go. Don't worry about me. I'll be right behind you.
You fight as hard as you can.
You know the fuck I will.
All right. We're out. Let's go.
Rowan continues to fire as the 3 of you slip up the stone stairs. Zippy and Camilla follow after. However, Camilla stumbles. Rowan grabs onto her just before she hits the ground. The AK-47 slides, and the gunfire stops as the dead, like an unending tidal wave, lunge forward. Zippy, failing their balance check, is pulled into the crowd as you watch the wild child being ripped apart. As the black bile pours forth from these Romero's eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, they tear their flesh asunder, and Zippy is consumed. Rowan kicks Zippy further into the crowd, throwing Camilla forward. Keep going! And again the gunfire as Rowan flings up the rifle and starts to try her hardest to cover all of you. Come on, I can't do this forever. Keep going! Soldier, that's an order!
Is Achira able to run and gun to help Rowan with the crowd control?
You could. Or you could help Camilla, who's stumbling up the stairs. I will remind you, she's very, very pregnant. And she's breathing very heavily.
Achiro will hold out a hand for Camilla to pull her up the stairs.
She reaches out with her one hand. The other has a machete, a citadel sword that has been taped to it. And you watch as she stabs backwards, piercing through the skull of a Romero that has pushed through the crowd. I need you to make a lift pull and to roll 3 blue die.
And Faith and I saw this happen, correct?
You have a better view than Faith, who's continuing up the stairs, but you have a perfect view of all of this. Is there anything that you would like to do?
I don't think Polly does anything. I just scream.
Zippy is being eaten in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Your family, the last family that you may actually have in this world, has just been torn asunder. Now, little more than meat being fought over by these rabid dead things, like dogs, rabid. They rip and peel. You watch as her rib cage is ripped open and her organs are pulled out.
And struggle to start to try to get off of Faith's shoulder. She
is still screaming. Faith, what do? You feel like Polly's trying to break away from you.
I hold her harder.
I can get her!
You can't. That's the end for her. You can grieve later. There's no time right now.
Fuck. And just goes still and glassy-eyed.
Jira, that's 1 degree of failure on your lift pull. Your fingers slip past hers. Do you wish to spend any competency?
I'll spend 2 competency to make it a success.
At the last moment, she lunges forward, and her good hand grabs onto your forearm, and you pull her back as the Romeros rush towards her. Rowan steps forward and butts the gun against the skull of one of them, which cracks and hits the wall with a wet black smear. You pull Camilla out, and as you embrace her, as the two of you fall backwards onto the concrete stairs, old vine and leaves crunch under your back. You feel a wetness on you. And Camilla, I think my water just broke.
What?
We're going to take a short break. Lampwick. You don't feel anything. It's cold, but you don't feel it. It's dark, but you can still see. The only thing that breaks this void inside of you, this empty landscape of nothingness, is the hunger. Rising and twisting inside of you, you feel it moving. It is your dark passenger. What rides now alongside you, with you, next to you, inside of you. It is part of you. It is you. You have passed the threshold. The virus courses through your blood, but you aren't dead. Not dead. Like the masses, the swarms of Romero. Yes, the swarms of Romero that lumber around you right now. How did you get here? Where are you? Lampwick, you're looking down at your hands. There are black veins that are worked through your flesh. Your robes are soiled in blood. She's still in your arms. Her head lolled backwards, the back of her skull broke open like a piñata. But now, lying there, lovingly tucked into her arms, which are crossed over her chest, is a child's storybook. the little blue bird. The dead flow past you, paying no attention at all. Your eyes are open and you see now that you're somewhere else within the stadium. You don't remember coming here. And before you, at the base of the field, with the lights burning down, in the distance you see an enormous effigy. There are other survivors here, people that you do not recognize, fighting against the hordes, trying to survive. Whatever it is that the shepherds intended, whatever they were trying to prove, their game is almost complete. It's already been so quiet now, but the gunshots ring out and you hear the shouts and the screams. And the dead walk past you, paying little mind to you as you kneel with this dead girl in your arms. And then you hear it. Oh, children of the valley, walking hand in hand. Oh, children of the valley, roaming across these lands. Fear not, little children, the prophet watches you. You see her, Mother Hodge, moving amongst the horde. Her black robes immaculate, her gray hair pulled tight, her withered, wrinkled skin pale, worked with the same black veins. And as she turns and looks to you, you see her eyes are filled with black bile, completely, utterly dark and vacuumous. There you are. They took her from you. They took her from us, didn't they?
How far away from me is she?
20 feet. The dead swirl about all of you.
They took her. I take the book and I tuck it away, put it in my bag. And I hold the child, or what's left. And I kiss her on where the bullet entered.
You were meant to shield her. You were meant to shepherd her. And as mercenary, missionary, and God, you were meant to guide her to Ironheart. And now, all that is gone. And your trial's over.
Because I passed. Mother Hodge, you have not been paying attention. Achira owes me. The child was a sacrifice, and she took the bait. And when I see her again, she will be so ridden with guilt that she will do exactly what I want.
Such a price to pay. But if it is as you say, my son, then the sacrifice is well made.
Every sacrifice is worth it. I approach.
She does not hesitate, but steps forward closer to you, like a mother with loving, open arms. She greets you. The dead have wandered past. You are alone. The carnage of this place still surrounds you. The dead piled year after year here, the desiccated corpses, all of them surrounding you like a silent audience. It is dark, but you can see. And you see Mother Hodge open her arms to you. What do you do?
I step forward with my daughter out. And I get about 10 feet away. And I place the child down on the ground. I'm not finished.
She watches you.
I start to walk past her at an angle, so I'm not directly passing her. But I'm heading away.
She starts walking towards Adelaide, the body that you've laid on the ground. And she maintains eye contact with you. And she looks down at the child, the remains there. And she begins to roll up her sleeve.
I stop.
Our dark God gives us all gifts. And even death cannot take them. And she kneels before the body, her bare, pale, wrinkled old hand like a crone reaches into her mouth and down her throat as she forcefully reaches inside of the corpse, the whole time watching you.
I step forward towards her. I want to get a good look at what is happening.
As her hand retracts out, covered in black bile and pus, it is clear that this child was only barely human. And there is a dark, beating black pit in Mother Hodge's hand as the gore pours down around her. Small, writhing tendrils on a knot of strange flesh.
She's still looking at me.
You are not done. So eat. And she extends her arm out to you as this knot of unnatural flesh writhes alive before you. Eat and know our God.
I take it. I'm not hungry for this. Not yet. Do I hear the helicopter?
You do. It's distant, but you hear it.
I point to it.
She steps
I
forward.
want that.
She steps forward. She takes the knot of flesh from your hand. Do you allow that?
I pull back.
If you will not eat the sacrament, so be it. It is always your choice, my son. But you will not carry the seed with you. She steps forward again. Do you relinquish it?
Mommy.
Hush, my
Mom.
son. No, my son, do not cry. She steps forward and embraces you.
I drop the heart.
It falls
On
to
the
the ground. Hush. No, my son. Do not despair, for you have been saved. You are one of us.
I pull out my sword and I stab her in the head.
Through her head, the sword pierces, and she stumbles back.
I
as
stab her
black
again.
Bile pours out. You pull the sword forth, and where do you stab her next?
I'm going to try to cut off her head.
That will require a roll. You can make your slashing roll. You will need quite a few successes. I will give you 2 blue speed die.
Okay.
That is 5 degrees of failure, Lampwick.
I'm going to use all the competency that I can.
How many competency is that? Because let me be clear.
Mm-hmm.
This was very risky.
I know.
You've seen what she can do.
I do. Yes. I'm going to use 8 of my own, and I'm going to use 2 communal.
Typically, that would not be allowed, but given the circumstances, I'm going to allow it. That is a lot of competency to spend to take an utter failure into a complete and critical success. You have 5 degrees of success, Lampwick. You have drained, I believe, the communal pool. Is that correct?
I think there's more than that in that pool.
Very well. Your friends in the ether have been very active. But they've been praying. Some of them have been praying. And those prayers have been answered. Her head is severed from her body and rolls across the ground as you see tendrils of flesh erupt from where the head was, trying desperately to grab back on to the severed head as it rolls across the shattered concrete in front of you. Black bile sprays across you. I need you to make a composure check. Your viral is as far as it can go, and you feel your body emaciating. The weight of your humanity slipping through your fingers, and with each act of violence, the beast awakens, and the hunger grows. A composure check, please. 4 degrees of failure. How many competency do you have remaining, Lampwick?
I have 2, and I have survival points.
If you spend 2, it would be a failure of 2. Do you wish to spend survival points?
I do.
How many survival points do you have?
250.
It will take 100 for each degree of failure, meaning you've only created a wash and you have 50 survival points left. Do you wish to take another communal die or communal success from the pool that will be shared with your companions that are currently under the stress of enormous hordes of Romeros as they try to escape? Will you take one of those 2 remaining points, Lampwick?
Come on, chat, give us more. I'm gonna take it.
1 degree of success. You hang on to your sanity by a thin thread. You feel something rising through the pit of your stomach, and you're used to this almost now as tentacles start to lunge forth from your mouth, but you hold them back. Your eyes shift and you see everything around you in brilliant colors, as if painted in a much more vibrant brush than you could ever imagine. The beauty of life around you through half-dead eyes. Mother Hodge's body strikes the ground and the tentacles fall limp. At your feet, this small black pit of flesh still undulates, drawn forth from the child that you held.
I take it, and as I bend down to pick it up, I look at Mother Hodge, what's left, and I just whisper mercy. And I take that, whatever that is, that heart, and I take off.
You begin to take off. There are 2 doors here. One of them, the Romeros have passed through. The other, large metal, slams open. You see a silhouette at first and then a face, familiar to you. 10-4 appears. 10-4. You see tentacles lunging forth from Lampwick's mouth. He's holding onto a gory, pussy ball of flesh that seems to be moving. Standing over the body of the old woman, Mother Hodge, her head removed from her body. Holding a citadel sword, dressed in the robes of the shepherds, who you know as the Hand of Malachi. What is your intention?
Taking in the scene, at first, there's a general sense of shock. It had been a while since 10-4 had been in direct contact with Lampwick, either via radio or in person. I don't think he fully comprehended the severity of Lampwick's situation. Then after a moment, he'll kind of raise a hand up, extend it outward, as though pushing away from Lampwick slightly. And he simply says, "Jesus, Lampwick, easy, easy. What the fuck is going on here?"
I understand what he's saying, yes.
You do. You hear his words. They seem distant. The hunger rises, and you see him in a new light. You hear the blood pulsing through his veins. You smell his flesh and the wound at his shoulder, a gunshot, leaching blood, fresh blood. You can smell the meat, and your stomach turns. I need another composure check with 3 black dice of difficulty, please. Do you wish to say something before you make the roll?
Run!
Run!
Hearing that and the moment of hesitation before Lampwick responds, 10-4 is going to very abruptly dart forward. As he's doing so, his hand reaches into the pocket of his jacket and produces a large Bowie knife, which he is going to attempt to insert under Lampwick's jaw at an angle upward to pierce through the brain and brainstem.
You're wounded.
I am indeed.
One of the survivors on the field had placed a luckily bad shot into your shoulder. It could have killed you. You have taken care of it. It's not as immediately dangerous as it would normally be, but your arm isn't as strong as it should be. And you're really risking a lot darting in here, close to Lampwick as these tentacles lunge forth from his mouth. However, you're no stranger to making this maneuver. You've taken down your fair share of the dead this way, and getting in close, despite your nature, your remote, distant nature, 10-4, this is how you fight. And when it needs to happen, very few expect it. So, I'm giving you 1 black die of difficulty, nothing more. I'd like 2 blue speed die. And Lampwick, your rolls are completely going to be determined by your composure, which you have, again, catastrophically failed with 4 degrees of failure.
Yep.
You have nothing left to give.
Nothing.
You could even draw from the communal pool, but it wouldn't be enough. You would still fail.
Yep.
Lampwick, you've lost yourself in this moment. And all you see is flesh to be eaten. I'd like, Lampwick, for you to make for me a grapple check. And I'd like for you to add no dice of difficulty because you're giving in to your viral nature. You're accepting this in this moment. Make the grapple check with no dice of difficulty and 1 blue speed die.
Got it.
10-4, currently you have 2 degrees of failure, but you are also a player in this moment, so you have all of the additional competency that has been given to the additional players as well.
Indeed.
The choice is yours.
And 10-4 does have some abilities that get him a little bit more as well. I think... I'm going to spend 8 of my 10 and push this into 5 degrees of success.
So be it. Lampwick, you currently have 2 degrees of failure on your grapple and nothing to give for it. Surprisingly, the tentacles lash towards you, 10-4. You feel their wet, slimy, viscous mass smack across your face as Lampwick's hands grab onto you. Beneath the tentacles, you see rows of shark-like teeth as he tries to bite into your shoulder. You throw your weight back, letting the tentacles slide past you as the Bowie knife swings upward. Under his jaw and straight into his brain. Lampwick. You don't feel hungry. From your hand, the small knot of flesh drops to the ground. Black bile pours forth. You feel once more warmth working its way across you. The coldness retreats, and a dull throbbing in your head. And you feel the warmth of a fire. And you're sitting out in a star-filled night, on a log, alone. The fire crackles in front of you. What do you do?
What do I see around me?
Forest. You're somewhere in the iron pin. You've no idea of what's happened to you. Everything is foggy. You don't know where Achira or Juniper are. They're overdue to check in, and Skeeter hasn't been back for a while. You have to gather things together. You have to get the next shipment out. Make it to the next settlement. Although you can't remember the name of that settlement.
No.
You're confused. But the fire's warm.
Two things. I'm hungry. I will reach over for whatever food Achira left and I'll eat it.
You reach over to Achira's bag, which is by a log. You see the files peeking out of it, the papers that you found, and then echoes begin to come back. And in the bag, you see the little blue bird. And you also see something else in that bag. You open it further and you look down, and Arya's head is staring at you. Accusation across her face, although her eyes are empty and without life. Achira, you say it without realizing, and you hear it echo through. And I spend 100 risk. 10-4, make a lift pull as Lampwick's eyes go dark and he picks you up off the ground.
All right. Do I have, I assume, still difficulty on this check?
You do, you're too close. So there are not only the one black die for your wound, but I'm going to add one for the proximity and the unexpected nature of someone coming back from this. You've seen a lot. This is new.
Never seen someone come back from that. All right. 1 degree of success.
You pull away. Lampwick, I need you to make a grapple check. This is your only chance, 10-4. How would you like to try to escape this grab?
I think, what's back the way 10-4 came from after pushing through the door?
You fought your way through a glut of the dead. Some of them were moving quickly, more quickly than you'd ever seen before. You were trying to find some radio equipment. You were moving towards what you thought was a control booth. It was a trap. They made a kill box, and you were fighting your way back. Effectively, behind you is a dead end. Your only hope is to move forward into another herd of the dead. Or you can try to come up with something else.
10-4 is going to then, knowing that it's going to hurt, he's going to keep hold of the handle of the knife. And he's going to shoulder check into Lampwick to try to push him off to the side while pulling the knife out and just run past with everything that he has left in him.
I think that's a dodge check. Do you agree?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Just the 1 die of difficulty here for the dodge, for your wound, and it is going to hurt. I'm going to make a check on my end to see if we're going to aggravate that at all. But it will, again, allow you to make this check without any additional dies of difficulty. And you are rolling 5s, just in case they explode.
Correct that.
Even that 1 die of difficulty can turn into a very real problem for you.
Very true.
Lampwick, I need you to make an endurance check, and then I need you to make a composure check.
Oh, boy.
And for that is 5 degrees of failure.
It is.
Welcome back.
Oh, no. Endurance and then composure.
How many competency do you have left, 10-4? You spent an awful lot.
I did. I do still have 2 remaining, so I can get it out of a catastrophic failure. I don't know what we have in the communal pool off the top of my head.
You have 3 in the communal pool. Is 10-4 going to take those away from the other survivors in this moment? By all means, if you wish to. It may mean the difference between 10-4's life and death.
Yeah.
That creates a walk.
As we said in the 3 Rivers Retribution, let it burn. Taking all 3.
Leaving the remaining survivors with nothing in their communal pool, 10-4, you gather your strength and create a wash which isn't going to allow you to escape, but is going to prevent you from being grabbed. You are still free. The knife is free from Lampwick's head. You have rolled away from his grab. Lampwick, you have 3 degrees of success on your endurance.
Mm-hmm. And you need a composure?
I need a composure as well.
And admittedly, I think 10-4 would be willing to lose the knife in that process as well.
If you wish that to make your
I'll
wash,
make
if you're
my
going to
life-
leave your weapon behind...
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the knife is getting left.
The knife stays in Lampwick's head then, and I will actually say that you make it a few steps away from Lampwick, further out from his grasp. Lampwick, you have 3 degrees of success on your composure, 3 degrees of success on your endurance. And despite your hunger, you see him. You feel the knife in your head through your brain, out of the back of your skull. You know what's happening. But you see 10-4. Fear, sweat, you smell his flesh so close. But you resist. What do you wish to do? What is your intention, Lampwick?
I see him clearly, and I can think clearly for this moment.
For this moment.
I tell him to run.
Get away from me!
0 hesitation remaining. 10-4 is running with every ounce of energy that he has left.
You get a head start. 10-4, you roll through the door. You start maneuvering forward. You see the swarm of the dead not far ahead of you. They're moving towards something. You hear the helicopter. You're assuming it's the Citadel. But you don't know. Either way, it's not the Shepherds. And that means you might have an option for escape. If you can get to high ground. And you begin running. As Lampwick drops to all fours, tentacles lunging out of his face, his eyes unnaturally large and black. He starts leaping, landing on the ceiling, grasping onto it, and crawling towards you.
As soon as 10-4 can clear the building, he's not going for the chopper.
Where are you going?
He's using the chopper as what he feels is the most likely result of it at this point, a distraction. He's going to break off the opposite way from where I assume the bulk of the dead would be going. And he is going to try to run off into the ruins of the city.
You're trying to break out into the city. You would have one option. As all of the entrances and gates have been sealed, you see smoke signals. A lot of them. As you run up a ladder and make it to the shattered concrete of the top of the stadium, you see in the remains of Pittsburgh, someone has lit smoke signals. And there's an explosion behind you as one of the generators explodes. You see the helicopter off in the distance. It is marked with Citadel markings. The skull and sword of that faction are clear to you from here. Lampwick chases after you. You see the Allegheny River below. Your only hope, and it is a thin one, is to jump.
This is why you don't fucking get your hands dirty. He's gonna close his eyes and leap.
Lampwick, one final roll that will determine if 10-4 lives or dies. Make a grapple check for me. No dice of difficulty added. Is he fast enough? Is he faster than you? You have no composure to spend, or no competency to spend.
Mm-mm.
2 degrees of failure. Lampwick grabs the back of your jacket and rips it from you as you pinwheel out into the darkness, 10-4, and you begin falling. The murky water of the river coming closer and closer as everything goes dark. Achira, Faith, Polly Pocket. Somewhere in the distance, as you pull yourselves up the stairs, you hear a howl. An unearthly.
Lampwick.
What?
That was Lampwick. I'd know that voice anywhere, even as distorted as it is now.
Okay. What are you gonna do about it?
There's nothing to do about it now. We have to get out of here.
Okay, let's go. Camila, are you gonna make it? Come on.
I'll do whatever I can. I don't know how long it hurts. And you see now that there is blood and water, and she is trying to get up the stairs. Achira, you're holding most of her weight. The dead are still pushing up the stairwell. Rowan is doing her best to hold it off. Gunfire, and then you hear, as the last of her clip empties, and she starts to thrust the rifle forward, spearing with the bayonet. All of you are gonna have to get out of here. Go, soldier, move!
I pull Polly Pocket off my shoulder and I shove her up the stairs. And I grab one of my last flash grenades that I have. I've been holding on to this whole time. Do I still have this thing?
You
Or is it
do not
from...
have
Okay,
a
never
flash
mind.
grenade.
I do not do
However, yes, however, within the military supplies that Achira and you and the others found, you did retrieve some other items. Achira, is there anything that you wish to give to Faith?
Regular grenade.
this thing. Perfect.
Do you wish to use a regular grenade?
Yes.
I mean, I also have the AK-47 that I have.
You are not out of ammunition. Rowan is. So do you wish to throw your rifle towards Rowan and allow Rowan to continue to fight and leave you without a rifle?
I don't think that would be smart, but I'll give Faith the real regular grenade.
You have a grenade. Polly Pocket, is there anything that you wish to do while all this is happening?
Not at the moment. Not yet.
Faith?
So I've taken Polly Pocket off my shoulder. I grab the grenade. Keep moving! Go up! I'm gonna help Rowan. Just keep running. Get on that chopper. Don't worry about who's driving it. Just get on it.
I can't.
I'll help
You
you.
go.
I'll help you, Polly. We are all getting out of this.
Polly,
Faith.
you've gotta help Camila. Look at her. Gotta help her.
You will be right behind us.
Faster than you are.
Camilla looks to you, Achira, and whispers, You can't get me and her out of here on your own. You know that. One of us has to stay behind, and I'm not letting my baby die here.
Faith, I can't get them both out of here without you. You're gonna have to give Rowan the grenade.
I'll be right there. Because I think Faith doesn't see any difference between giving it to Rowan and throwing it myself. I'm just throwing to the area behind Rowan.
Rowan right now is holding back a tide of the dead. Now, luckily, you're in a bottleneck within the stairwell, and Rowan is a good fighter and has been stabbing the dead. They're piling up in front of her. However, she is fighting furiously and could not step back without relinquishing her hold on this horde as it pushes up the stairs. If you step forward with that grenade, you are fighting with her. There might be a chance for her to then move back, but unless you engage in melee combat, the horde is going to move forward onto you, and Rowan wouldn't allow that to happen. So the choice is yours. You can step forward, or you could pull the grenade, throw the grenade, and then enter into melee if you wish to try to create an opening for Rowan, or you can choose to throw the grenade and keep moving.
I would
Faith, do you want my gun?
You gotta keep it. Just keep going. I'm gonna throw the grenade basically to the area. It's a little in front of where Rowan is. To kind of like reduce the onslaught coming towards her, and then I still have my gun. Then I'll go down there and just try to suppress him to let her get away.
All right. Achira, I need you to make a lift pull. Polly, you're walking. You're in pain. I need you to make an endurance check. 3 black dice of difficulty. Faith, everybody should be making these checks with 1 blue speed die. Faith, make a throw.
Okay.
No dice of difficulty. Polly, you have 1 degree of failure on your endurance.
Absolutely.
Faith, you have 2 degrees of success on your throw. Achira, you have 2 degrees of success on your lift pull. Because you are working with the others, Camilla has 2 degrees of success on her endurance, meaning that collectively the 3 of you are able to make it up the stairs further. Faith, you throw the grenade and you are on target. Does anyone wish to alter any of their rolls?
I'll bring mine up for sure. I'll use 2 competency points.
If you spend 2 competency, that means it's 1 degree of success, which does aid this even further.
Mm-hmm.
Faith, repeat again. At what point do you start to think about pulling back from the stairwell?
I start to pull back when either Rowan is able to start to move back herself, or when she's overtaken.
The other 3 make it into the crisp air outside. It's cold. You feel it against your faces, and it has never been so welcoming. The chopper is near, and you see lights above. There are also floodlights here. Achira, your eyes fall upon the spectacle that has been created. There are dead Romeros everywhere. Someone else has been fighting up here. But there are also totems left here by the shepherds. Other survivors that have been strung up and left as Romeros fighting against their bonds in grotesque shows of perverse artistry. Their skin has been peeled, their flesh peeled back, their bones rearranged. And there is one figure looming in the center of it all. An enormous, heavily muscled thing. You've seen these before. the abominations that have been created by the shepherds, and a burlap sack hangs loosely over its grotesque face. As it lumbers forward, behind it, it drags an enormous steel beam wrapped in razor wire. Faith. Rowan looks to you. The burns on her face make her look like an angry demon as she continues to fight forward. She grabs the lapel of your Citadel jacket and pulls you in close as she stabs forward, pulling you away from another Romero as it lunges and swings herself in front of it as it bites into her neck.
No.
No. You're...
Get out of here, kid.
Lamp can do something about this. There's a way. There's a way.
Go. Now. That's an order. Faith? I know we haven't seen eye to eye all the time. But kid, I need you to hear me right now. We don't have time. This world is for you. My time is done. Go be a leader. That's a fucking order. And she throws you back up the stairs as the dead try and pull her. She's holding on to a grenade. She bites the pin as the two of you lock eyes, and she holds it over her chest. There's an explosion. Your ears ring, Faith, and you're thrown to the ground. As the stairwell collapses. Behind you, Achira, as soon as you see this thing, you and Polly and Camilla, they're barely standing, and this thing is there. And there's an explosion behind you, and you think they're done. I need everyone's intentions.
I think Polly, seeing Camilla struggling as well, does step forward and shakily raises the pistol to try to shoot this thing. Hail Mary.
You do have a black die of difficulty due to your state.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead and make your pistol check. I also wish for you to make or add 2 blue speed die to this roll.
Absolutely.
What about you, Achira? What is your intention?
Well, since we disengaged from the herd and was in that stairwell to then come to this new area that's on, the roof with this very hazardous, it's a very hazardous location. Is it?
It's a whole new location hazard, and it's worse than the one you just left.
Okay. Achira is going to... She still has her long gun. She's, her and Polly are making a last stand here. Trying to think if there's anything else that we took out of that cache that would work for right now, but I mean, the first thought would be, long gun.
Your formation is broken.
The three of us don't make a formation?
Do one of you form a new formation? The
I
leader
think
of your
I'm gonna have
formation
to-
was left behind.
I think for the first time ever, Achira's gonna have to make a formation.
A woman, pregnant, with her water broken, and a half-dead girl, and a cheer in the middle. It's quite a formation. You draw your weapons. You stand. I do want a composure check. I'm going to impose no dice of difficulty, though, as your morale holds. Your determination to survive carries you forward.
So for a basic formation, we get... I forget what we get for that.
I've removed any dice of difficulty from your composure. You have 3 degrees of success, Achira, and so as the leader of the formation, you're going to hold fast, and it's going to impart the ability for you to share your successes with the others as needed. Polly, how did you do on your composure?
Composure.
Yes.
1 moment.
And I do see, Achira, that you've already made your long gun check. Is that correct?
Yes, I will be changing that.
Yeah, that's fine. You're afraid. You have 3 degrees of failure. Do you have anything that you wish to spend here?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to use 4 degrees of competency, and that leaves me with 2 or 3 left, I think.
You hold fast, and you did fire. And your fire, the pistol shots that you've wrung out have struck this thing dead in the center mass of its chest, unless you would like to spend additional competency.
I was going to ask, how many would I need to spend to make this like a critical success?
3.
I
How
believe
many do
Polly-
you have left?
I think I have exactly 3.
Do you wish to spend all of your competency to make this a headshot?
Shit. Yeah.
With no competency remaining, Polly Pocket from over your shoulder, Achira, fires her pistol. And you watch as this behemoth moves forward, speaking with its twisted lips your name.
Achira.
As the bullet rocks through its head and black bile explodes out of the back of the burlap sack, it falls to its knees and then down to the ground, its body twitching. The helicopter is overhead. Lights are moving everywhere. What do you do?
Well, Damn, Polly. Thank you.
It was majorly harshing our groove.
I kind of love you, kid. I'm gonna flag down the helicopter.
Lights begin to fly around you as Romero's shuffle about. They come towards you, but they're slow, lethargic almost, confused. There's black bile coming out of them. Whatever unnatural energy was pushing them forward seems to have been expended, and now they seem confused and disjointed. Something isn't right. Something amongst the shepherds has been thrown off of balance. You flag down the helicopter.
Something's happened with him. Maybe it's that thing that I killed. Maybe it's Lampwick. I don't know, but it's time to go.
Yeah.
Since looks like it's just the 3 of us leaving.
Faith, your head is spinning. You're buried under a small amount of dust and dirt. You're ashen gray. Your head hurts. There's a trickle of blood, but Rowan stopped the tide of the dead. You pull yourself up. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna see if I can still see the doorway up to the top of the landing.
You can.
I try to climb out of the rubble to make my way there.
You pull yourself out. Achira, Polly, as you and Camilla stand there. Camilla is on her hands and knees and breathing heavily as she holds on to her swollen belly, fighting to keep it together. Some of the dead still roam around you, and these edifices, these totems, mock you. But the helicopter lowers itself, and it lands. And you hear from a speaker the clear voice, and you see the pilot. It's Riggs.
Ugh.
Friend of yours?
If things, I didn't think anything could be worse than it is right now, but that asshole, that one.
Soldiers emerge from the helicopter. They start destroying the dead. Using their swords and guns, they move forward in a perfect formation. As the helicopter's still running, Riggs steps out and lights a cigar. Well, fuck. If this isn't just the thing. Looky what we got here. Looks like you need a ride. And Faith, this is what you see as you pull up out of the dirt.
Hey, old man.
Faith?
What's up? Riggs.
Achira's gonna go to help Faith.
Faith. Kid. I thought you bought the farm.
Oh, a couple times. I think I did, actually.
You
Riggs.
hear... Oh, go ahead.
Riggs, listen to me. She's gone. Rowan's gone.
No fucking way.
No, just... What?
I've
Just
been
now.
with that. No, I've been with Rowan far too many years. She's way too tough. Whatever you saw, you didn't see. She's still in there. She'll be back.
I saw
She's
her
made out of steel.
I saw her get bitten, Riggs. In the neck. I don't think... I'd love to be optimistic, but I've seen too much of this shit today. Couldn't have come a little earlier.
One of the soldiers turns back. General, there are others who are trying to make their way up. There are other survivors. What do you want us to do? Should we try to clear a path? What do you think, Lieutenant?
I'm gonna ask you for a favor, and I think it's probably the only time I've done this. Camilla's over there. I know you want to take her back to the Citadel. I know all this is totally fucked. I want you to let them go. I mean, yeah, get us off the fucking this fucking roof, because there's bad shit in there, but after that, just let him go.
I just want to be a part of my kid's life. Is that too much to fucking ask?
I don't even know how to answer this question. It's been a weird couple of days. And I don't think I'm gonna stay either, Riggs. Just being honest. I think you should try to get as many people as you can out of here. But if they don't want to stay with the Citadel, you shouldn't make them. But if they want to stay, sure, keep them. They'll be better soldiers that way. We gotta do better, Riggs.
He throws his cigar down, stomps on it with his combat boot, and meets your eye. He walks towards you and reaches a hand down to help you up.
It's okay, you're scaring me a little bit, but I also have something for you. And I pull out his lighter he gave me, like, I don't know, 20 episodes ago. I kept this safe for you.
You keep it, kid. All right, here are my terms. You become vassals of the Citadel. You lead this group, I take you to a new stronghold. You watch over my child. I don't come anywhere near you. I trust you'll find that agreeable. He looks down at Camilla, and then over to you, Achira. That said, we work together.
If they want to stay with me, they will. If they don't want to stay with me, I'm going to let them go.
I guess you'd be the leader. And you and I can hash it out later. Meanwhile, we're on the roof of a stadium full of freaks. And I don't know what this religious cult is fucking doing, but I'm goddamn over it.
Yeah.
So do you want to ride or not?
Yes, we want to fucking ride. All right. We're doing this.
You good with this?
I have to be. We have to live.
What about you? Looks to you, Achira.
I think that's a better deal than I was expecting to get. Let's let the other survivors on board.
We might be able to open him up a pathway. But outside of all of you, this bird's not going to carry any more than me and my soldiers.
Fair
All
enough.
we were trying to do was extract those that we could.
Just give them a chance, and let's get the hell out of here.
All right. Let's roll out. Pull it up! Stakes out! Let them know. It's time for the fat lady to sing. The Citadel gathers you all onto their helicopter, and it begins to pull up. Achira, you're looking out at the remains of the stadium as it burns. And there, you see a dark silhouette running along the edge of the stadium, leaping, jumping unnaturally. A shadow that, as soon as it hits the firelight of the place that you and your companions have just left behind, you see its face. As it meets your eyes, tentacles writhing around it. His body is so thin, he's even more emaciated than he was when you left him. Lampwick, on the ruins. Not human. Something else. Watching you as you and the others fly into the night. Lampwick. You're barely hanging on. But you saw her. She's safe. And you feel the last human tears that you will ever shed roll down the sides of your cheeks as you meet her eyes. What do you do?
I watch for a moment and I try to record and replay in my mind moments that I've had as if I'm trying to burn them into my memory to keep them with me forever. And I keep seeing the firelight. And as the helicopter starts to disappear, and I try to hold these things, I turn and I start looking for something to eat.
There are gunshots behind you. Other survivors struggling to fight their way out of this death pit that has been created by the hand of Malachi. The night begins to flare as somewhere within the city of what is once known as Pittsburgh, now shattered ruins, the Citadel makes good on their promise. And their artillery comes to bear as Three Rivers Stadium is assaulted with explosions as the shells pummel the sides of this rotten place. Holes are ripped into the side, and you see other survivors fighting their way forward. Do you relinquish?
I'm scanning and I'm looking for someone that's dead. That's not moving.
There are large figures lying on the ground in front of you. One of them, you smell the fresh black bile pouring forth from it. One of the abominations, its hooded face lying in a pool of its own filth. Does that satiate you?
I'm searching desperately for a survivor that didn't make it, that fell.
You keep scanning, and you slowly start to lose yourself. There are plenty of dead here. Fresh flesh. It's not on the roof. It's down below. You, before you know it, leap downward. And you see a wild child holding a gun in front of you. His blue hair, dirty, hangs in front of his face, and the gun is held outward as he shakes. I made it this far. I ain't letting it go now. Come at me, you son of a bitch.
I tell him to run.
Run.
And he does so. but you begin following. And you're
Looking
too
around.
fast. No, Lampwick. You've caught the scent, and you're on top of that wild child before it can move any further. You've got flesh before you. Do you eat? Or do you lose your mind?
I eat.
The tentacles writhe around the flesh. And the warm red blood works its way through you. The flesh down to the bone is peeled away as the tentacles find their home and burst into this poor child's eye sockets. A teenager barely, but the flesh sustains you and makes you whole. And over the speakers, all of them, you hear the ringing song as Children of the Valley echoes through your mind. You don't know how long you've been in the helicopter, but you see daylight. The sun is rising somewhere in the distance. Riggs has been uncharacteristically quiet, looking off into the distance as he flies all of you away from that nightmare. The soldiers have done their best to patch you up, Polly. Achira, you continue your mantra, quietly. Faith, the soldiers look at you with surprise and awe. In their eyes, you're a legend to have survived that. Camilla, is holding on to a small, newborn baby boy. Blood is everywhere, and it's a mess. But Camilla is at peace and holds on to this child as it sleeps. The world below you is dead. The shattered remains of a city long forgotten. You have survived. And as the helicopter heads into the horizon and the sun rises, purple and orange greet you as the night rescinds and the beauty of the world awakens once more. Even with all of this death, even with everything surrounding you, you're reminded that life is persistent. Life never gives up. All of you see now this child held within this marred woman's grasp. And as they sleep there, you find hope. But that's not where the story ends. Riggs continues to fly and begins to lower the helicopter eventually. Below you, you see what looks like an ordinary parking lot that has been overgrown and lost like so many before it, but the building in front of you is enormous. There's a broken sign. It greets you all. Pine Haven Mall and Shopping Center. The helicopter lands on the roof. Riggs looks back. Kusanagi eventually sung like a bird. It's all yours, kid. Whatever that blockbuster freak was hiding is below. Old nuclear safe houses, I guess, from what I understand. Built underneath one of these fucking mega complexes. It's yours now. You lead it the way you see fit. Do Rowan proud.
Yes, sir. Everyone, if you'll come with me.
Hey, honey
Fine.
bunny.
You don't have to.
Don't call me that.
Keep an eye on him for me.
I'll look out for them. This doesn't make us even, by the way. Nothing could make us even.
Don't expect it ever will. Now get the fuck off my chopper.
Later, pumpkin.
Goodbye, Riggs.
Ollie throws up a middle finger in solidarity with Achira.
Camilla sleepily leans on you, Faith. So all of you get off of the helicopter as it pulls into the sunrise and disappears on the horizon. And you're standing on the rooftop of an enormous mall. The door, the access door behind you, flings open. Who the fuck are you? And that is where we're going to end our session.